Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Voice of Reason. We are your hosts. I am Jeremy Baker. With me, as always, of course, is Mike Falino.
What's up?
And we have a great review of the past week's events. I hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, Trump is on the agenda. He's always on our shit list.
We're coming in hot. I'm sorry.
We are coming in hard on this episode.
We're getting sick of having to come in hot, but we promise it's not like our nature. It's just the material we have to work with is frustrating.
Yeah, so just so you know, the viewers know, I lead with I speak with my emotions. I talk about stuff that I'm passionate about.
Same.
So if I get heated, that's why. All right, so obviously we got the polls were completely wrong compared to the actual elections. Univision backing Trump, even though Trump and his cohorts have said they would be willing to deport millions of people and put kids in cages.
And have already done that.
Yeah. The government shutdown was averted, thank God, again for a few months anyway. And so we have to go through this mess all over again. The FDA is approved. This actually happened a few months back, but I want to talk about it because it's insane. Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chip. I'm going to that's going to be fun. Obama's aides, last on the list, I think, and I have a special surprise video at the end.
Oh, God.
Obama's aides have a perfect plan on how to fight Trump. And I think it's something that more people should do. I think it's something that we already do. So yeah, let's get into it. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about with Mike here the recent posts by Michael Rappaport about how he's not going to vote for Biden because of what's going on in Palestine and Israel, or in Gaza and Israel. I think this is and I got on his page and I posted exactly how I felt, and people need to understand that not voting in the 2024 election for either candidate is still the same as voting for Trump, because 100%. That means that's one less vote that Trump needs to win. So Trump wants to install a dictatorship. He wants to install basically Nazism in America.
Project 2025.
Exactly. Article 3 project with Mike Davis, which we're going to talk about next week. And just slew of other stuff that it's maddening. It's maddening.
It's madness.
It is. And for him to be so irresponsible, I think, because he has millions of followers. What if it came down to the wire, but Michael Rappaport's influenced 20,000 people to not vote at all?
And it could.
Right. So even if you don't like Biden because of what's going on right now, and honestly, your opinion on this next election, if it's based on what's going on in Palestine, in Gaza and Israel, you're a fucking idiot.
Based it on what's going on in this country.
Right.
The one you're voting for.
Your choices are, once again, vote for Biden. And then, 4 years later, you get to vote for the next generation of politicians, or you don't vote or vote for Trump. And then you never have to vote again because it'll be Nazi Germany by the time
if that's your style.
Second term.
If you're cool with actual fascism, not hyperbole, not exaggeration, if you are paying attention to what these people are trying to accomplish with another Trump term, and no matter how much you disagree with a Joe Biden on handling of anything, if you don't vote or if you vote for Trump, you are acknowledging that you do not want democracy to work and you are giving up.
Right. Now, if it was any other election, I probably wouldn't be saying this, and I probably wouldn't give a shit. But the fact, I do like Michael Rappaport, and I follow him.
Yeah.
I'm actually disappointed that he said this because of what's on the line. I mean, we keep saying democracy is quite literally on the ballot. We're not exaggerating. We are not exaggerating. I mean, just Google Mike Davis in the Article 3 project before we talk about it next week. The guy wants to throw kids in cages and called it glorious. He said, exact quote, "It will be glorious."
Yep. These are not human beings.
No, they're animals. They're extremists. They call themselves, they're not even conservatives by definition.
They are extremists, yes.
They are religious extremists. They're no different than ISIS. They're no different than the Taliban. It's just the American version of religious extremism.
Just because they put up a Christmas tree doesn't mean they're less terrifying and less terroristic in their actions, because that's what they are doing. They're domestic terrorists.
MAGA is a domestic terrorist threat, and I wish they would be labeled appropriately, for fuck's sake.
And that's what's
language, but
That's what's pissing us off about someone with the reach of a Michael Rappaport, who has traditionally gone on the side of reason and not on the side of fascism. I get that the Gaza topic is gut-wrenching and terrible, and no matter what your leanings are, it is an atrocious, monstrous situation.
It really is.
I get it. But if you just want to go on that topic and you truly think a Donald Trump would in any way make the situation better for anyone, you probably aren't capable of understanding what's really at stake. But if you think you do, look at what's going on and cast your vote accordingly. But please,
let me ask Michael Rappaport a question. Who in the hell do you think Donald Trump is going to side with if he comes back into power? Netanyahu. He's not going to side with God with Hamas. Of course, he calls him smart and all that, but he's not.
Thomas.
Of course. You know what I mean? He was so butthurt when Netanyahu finally said that Biden won the 2020 election. He cried like a baby about that.
We are not playing anymore.
No,
and
it's not even a joke anymore.
You know, you look at people are going to cringe, and I don't care. You look at a Taylor Swift who is doing what she can with her influence to just get people to vote. There are other celebrities like her that are doing their best to use their influence to get people to vote. But you have to be able to understand what your influence does. And if you were going to say, I am not voting for Biden because of this topic, you are saying that, yes, the world events are, although they are important, are more important than the election of your president in your country.
Right.
I'm sorry. When it comes down to democracy, the day that you cast your vote for your country's free and fair elections are the most important thing you can ever do is focus on your country at that moment.
Right. And if people, and I mean, I hate to sound all doom and gloom and whatnot, but if people think it's bad now, they're getting desperate, and they've shown they're willing to do whatever the hell they can.
They are getting worse.
Power. So yeah, and it's honestly it's a nightmare at this point, but I think we can still save it.
I told you we're coming in hot.
Yeah.
This is just like us chatting. Oh boy.
Yeah. Let's get into the topic. So first, let's I'll play this video from MSNBC talking about how the polls were off by a lot.
That's
like not the first
time. And then we'll probably talk about why.
Misunderstood and powerful influence of Generation Z in changing America. Now, Pew Research Center defines Gen Z, or Zoomers, as those between the ages of approximately 10 and 25.
I actually like that better.
He writes that Zoomers have endured more adversity than any generation of young Americans in at least 70 years, and they know it. The failure of older generations to resolve these challenges weighs heavy on them. For them, America at times has resembled a dystopia. But they won't sit back and take it. They've decided to fight their own war against injustice and inequality right here at home. They can be this century's greatest generation. And
one thing that I hate, and it's something that every kid always hates, and they used to make fun of it, right? You'll get it when you're older and all that. Yeah, there's a lot of things you don't understand until you're older. But one thing I never understood is a previous generation complaining about the hardships they had and wishing that their children got to suffer the same way they did. And what I mean by that is, you know, you always say you want your kids, you want the next generation to have it better off than you did. You want to leave the world a better place. You want everyone to have a better world, inherit a better life. But then you're like, oh, well, we had this one bad hardship. But then they refuse to recognize the hardship of the next generation because they think it isn't as bad as what the older generation had.
Right.
Gen Z has lived through pandemics, through market crashes, housing bubble bursts, wars, education just busting, jobs disappearing, riots in the street, Donald Trump, and insurrection. And I'm sorry, and like I get it. The Depression was hell. You got through it. Vietnam was garbage. You got through it. And every time, if you notice, every generation has more things that are worse than the previous generation. And yet, every generation until now still doesn't understand that that next generation is going to have it worse. Not better than you. Not better.
It could be different if we were able to. I don't understand this whole Christian nationalism. This shit gives me a headache. I mean, that's how they want it. And I don't think Donald Trump obviously doesn't want it because he's never read the Bible.
No, he just wants power and glutton.
Mike Johnson now, to me, is probably public enemy number one, I would think, because
he is a legitimate threat to the democracy.
A threat. Not only is he second in line to the presidency, which freaks me out, because if anything were to happen to Kamala and Biden, you know what? They want this to be a Christian, white, straight nation. They don't want anything other than that. See, Donald Trump doesn't care as long as he's in power.
He doesn't give a shit. The thing that's
as
scary,
long as he's in charge and called the boss.
They thought Mike Pence would be the guy, but Mike Pence is actually, and man, I don't know if it's cowardice or patriotism, but in the end, he made the right decision. I don't really give a shit why he did, but he made the right decision. Mike Johnson, he's already made his decision in every scenario, and he's going to go with what the Lord tells him and what his people tell him and what's better. And you're going to play it later in the show. There is a video so terrifying where Mike Johnson lays out basically that the world as we know it is not worth it anymore. So when it comes down to it, how is a Mike Johnson going to vote? Whichever way he wants it to go, not the way it should go.
And to remind everybody, he also is the one to certify the next election, and he is a avid election denier. So this is what we're dealing with. This country is come about as close as it's going to be a fascist nation. And the next elections, what's quite honestly going to determine if democracy survives in the world. So we'll talk about Trump and his the actual danger he presents to the country here in a little bit. But I found this out while doing research for the show. I didn't know this, but most polls are still taken via landline.
Come on.
Which I think is hilarious. Like, who the hell still has a landline?
Like, all right, if you do, it's hooked to a piece of technology, maybe a fax machine. Yeah, like our
Gen
people
Z
like
has a landline.
Gen Z doesn't own homes, so they don't have a landline, and that's not a knock on Gen Z. What am I? That chart said I'm a Gen Xer. No, I'm a millennial, but I barely own.
I'm a Gen Xer.
Gen Z does not own homes, so
I mean, it's they not don't because of them. It's because I read online the other day. In order to buy an average home in America, you have to make like $110,000 a year.
Suck a butt.
Just to own your first home. I mean, that's ridiculous. Where people back in the day, if you were making 40, 50 grand a year, you were living pretty decent.
And that was one income.
Yeah. And most people don't realize this, but the 50% of America, and I'm talking per capita, like per person, not family, 50% of this country still makes less than $30,000 a year. So if you want to tell me, and you know, these companies are having what do you want to call it, record-breaking profits, and then they want to blame it on inflation and Joe Biden.
You know what that is? That's record-breaking wage theft.
Exactly. And they're not paying. Yeah, exactly. They're not paying anybody else anymore. It's completely corrupt from the top down, and we have to do something about it. That's why I like Biden talking about building. That's why I like Biden talking about building from the ground up in the what? I forget the saying.
Yeah, forget it. Oh, how about this? Forget
from
what
the
he
middle
said.
out.
Look at his actions. The CHIPS Act. I cannot say enough about it. It is an incentive for American companies to start businesses within the United States. Okay, it's not just for American investors to start businesses in China or Taiwan. It's for Americans to start American companies to build semiconductors for American businesses, cutting out the need to deal with a China and a Taiwan, which is what you would think the MAGA people want. But since they don't understand how reality works, they think Joe Biden is doing a bad job fixing the economy.
That is a huge deal for the future of electronics, especially.
And that's just one thing. He just gave how much to the whole Northeast for rail service? Again, we're the only, I guess, I hate to say we're an advanced country, but we're the only advanced country without a robust, functioning, coast-to-coast, border-to-border, interstate, whatever, high-speed rail system.
Yeah.
Like, crap. Come on. And that's, okay, we're obsessed with cars, right?
I lived in Germany in like the late 80s, early 90s. They had a rail system that you could just hop on whenever you want and go anywhere.
But in the U.S., we worship the gas engine, and everyone must have a pickup truck. So we can't possibly just travel the country by rail. We have to go on the old American backpacking tour.
We are absolutely behind in a lot of ways.
We're backwards.
We are.
And up each other's asses.
So, all right. Next topic is this one confuses the living hell out of me. And I've watched so many videos trying to explain why Univision would have Donald Trump on at all.
I don't understand.
With the things, so Univision, they're facing backlash, obviously, because they canceled all the Trump or Biden ads during the Trump interview, which were prepaid. So, yeah, growing backlash after canceling Joe Biden's 2024 campaign ads in key states during an exclusive Trump interview, which I'm sure Trump had something to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what? This son of a bitch probably had Jared Kushner be like, look, I'll come on, but you cannot play Biden ads while I'm on the air, because
it was also a favorable interview. It wasn't like a real interview in any challenging journalistic way. It was a fluff piece is, I guess, the only way to call it. Because if you're not going to talk the truth about him and you're just going to let him say whatever he says, it's not an interview.
I feel bad. In a way, I feel bad. I don't know anything about the guy, but I feel bad for the guy that gave the interview, because apparently the CEO of the company was like 10 feet away just watching him.
That guy,
I don't understand this. This
straw.
Confuses me. All right, so there's groups within MAGA that really confuse me. One is anybody of any color supporting Donald Trump for obvious reasons. Blacks for Trump confuses me. Univision backing Trump, even though he's telling people flat out they're going to put immigrants in cages, tens of millions of them.
Again, and more.
They're telling you. And then also like Caitlyn Jenner, that confuses the absolute crap out of me. I mean, she's a transgender woman who supports Trump, supports conspiracy theories.
She's a cult member.
Yes, but it's a group that wants to make transgenderism illegal.
All right. Well, I mean, we could pretend and say George Santos is an example of someone who is part of the LGBTQ community, and that's great. I mean, I'm never going to doubt anyone's identity and sexuality, because I do believe you are what you are. But I don't believe anything else about George Santos, so I don't know what is true and isn't. But I mean, there are gays for Donald Trump, blacks for Donald Trump, Latinos for Donald Trump. We already know there's whites for Donald Trump. That's called Republicans. But how are you as a marginalized group going to back a person who has not only disparaged you vocally, individually, every group, but then made policies to almost criminalize your existence? I don't understand what kind of mentality you have to be working with.
That is baffling. So let me play this first video, and then I have two clips from the Univision interview. So let's play this real quick.
Univision facing growing backlash after giving Donald Trump the royal treatment. Last week, the network hosted a very friendly hour-long exclusive interview with Trump that his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, helped arrange. Now, after that interview,
he's looking awfully orange.
Joe Biden's campaign ads that were already purchased to run during the interview.
Look at it. You can see it from here.
Nevada,
his ears aren't even the same color as his face.
No, he's in full drag today.
The Biden team's Hispanic media
I guess that's what alpha males do now. Heels and makeup.
Heels, makeup, and don't they do sunshine on their balls too?
Univision's top left the network. The reasoning is not yet clear.
He's not the only one that left the network. There was a woman, I can't remember her name. She left, plain simple, because of the interview.
Yeah,
he said it was absolutely ridiculous.
If you are not challenging him and calling him out, you are helping him. Done.
Right. So
period.
Before we play the other two videos, let's remind everybody of this was reality under Donald Trump. Okay, these are kids in cages.
Those are children. Human children.
Packed full. You cannot tell me that there's a hospitable environment for anybody.
We have regulations to keep livestock in better conditions than Donald Trump put brown children, from some of them from the very country of the people whose national television frickin' network is backing that man.
Let's also remind everybody
what are you doing?
That Melania on the trip down wore this jacket while visiting kids in cages. Let me repeat this. Melania Trump wore a jacket that says, I really don't care, do you?
The classiest first lady ever, by some accounts.
To the border to visit children in cages. And, of course, there's Mike Pence looking at everybody, too. Obviously, they didn't give a shit because they didn't do anything about it. This is
wait. I disagree. If you go back to that picture for a second, the one with Mike Pence, if you look on his lapel, I believe that's an American flag. So
it is.
He was at least showing how much of a patriot he is.
Yeah, while he's watching kids in cages. It's unbelievable. All right, so let's first talk. I'll play the first part part of this interview.
In this country, this is for third world countries. This is for banana republics. This is for countries that don't do this kind of thing.
What does that mean?
They've now tried it because they're losing so badly in the polls that if they can try and damage me for the election,
and every interview is word for word the same word salad.
And it's very interesting because
he only has like a 25-word
Democrat areas, radical left, blue areas. I have a lot of radical left judges.
Say anything.
I have a lot of. But despite that, I think it's all working out because the people ultimately are going to speak. And I think the people get it better than anybody else, better than we do.
Yeah, your people don't get it at all, I think.
What I'm trying to understand is, let's actually think about that. Let's pretend that he's capable of actually having a thought behind any word that comes out of his mouth. He's saying that the people will decide, the people will say in the end. But if you really think about it, he knows he's in the criminal justice system now.
Yeah.
And how are the people going to decide? Is he implying that when he gets to a trial, the people will rule in his favor? Or is he saying that when he is elected, being elected will allow him to say, well, the people wanted me to be president, so I could dismiss all of these charges? Or is he saying that the people will act on some other will to interrupt the process? Either of those options or any of those options, Donald Trump is making a not so veiled call for lawlessness and ignoring reality and justice. The party of what is it? The party of law and order.
Yeah, my ass. It's only when it benefits them. Otherwise, they can't stand it. So before I play the next video, which is even worse, my God, let me show this overlay here. So The Economist, which is not a political magazine at all, labeled Donald Trump poses the world or the biggest danger to the world in 2024, not just the United States, the entire world. And then on the right, on Esquire, Nazi Curious, the best headline I've seen of Donald Trump yet.
Yeah,
Nazi Curious, madman, currently under federal indictment for 91 felonies, gives speech.
There's nothing inaccurate about that.
Now, I want everybody to look at the last line real quick that I highlighted. It should clarify for any thinking human being that this is not a good thing. Okay, so that's where we have a problem. Because, yes, us thinking human beings understand that Donald Trump is straight up becoming a Nazi and promoting this kind of stuff on Veterans Day, mind you.
Yep.
But we have a percentage of our population that are not thinking human beings and that are just drones doing anything that they'll tell them to do.
Trump likes to say that the world laughs at us at any point in time when Donald Trump is not in power. Well, let me explain in simplest terms. For the 4 years that Donald Trump was president, the world was not laughing. It was crying in fear of a madman. And since then, it has been laughing in what I could only say is anxious calm, hoping that we figure our shit out and don't put that man in the seat again to drive us all into oblivion. Okay, when Donald Trump was president, he let out the man that is now the current president of Afghanistan. Okay,
yes, that's
so
right.
If Donald Trump is president again, who do you think he's going to side with? Well, he's going to side with Putin because he always tells you he will. He's going to side with the madman from North Korea because they're best friends and write each other love letters. Okay, he's going to side with Viktor Orban.
Exactly, Viktor Orban.
He's going to side with every single scumbacious piece of garbage dictator monster in this world over any democracy. Anyone. He's right. Mexico won't exist because if Mexico, who is actually in many ways way more of a democratic country than we are in the United States, if they do anything, right, what is Donald Trump going to do? Well, he told you, I'm going to stop the drugs. He's going to bomb Mexico. Like he said. So like
they talked about that.
The Economist is not taking what they said and put in print lightly. He is a danger to the world.
This is the same guy, mind you, Donald Trump. At one point, asked if we could shoot people crossing the border. They're like, no, dumbass, that's illegal. Then he suggested putting like large spikes that pierced human flesh was his request. And they were like, no, again, dumbass, that's fucking illegal. Stop being a maniac. All right, so let me go ahead. And I like, to me anymore, I'll just say it. Trumpism is Nazism. It's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing. Unless we want the World War II Germany in the United States and camps and because we would be in the camps too. Anybody else left?
Any dissenters?
They're not going after just people of color. They're going after ideals. They're going
and they're saying it now.
People think and talk. Yes.
Before it was assumed it would be a minority or two. Ha ha ha! Great, it won't be me. Well, guess what? If you're not a white, cisgender, heterosexual, Christian, that's it. If you do not fit into that group, you will be a target. That's how it works. Not that complicated.
Right. So, all right, let's play the next video. And this is him. This is absolute man. It's from the David Pakman show. If anybody hasn't watched that, highly recommend it.
And if World War III happens, probably Mexico will no longer be around because the power of nuclear weapons are so big.
This guy.
If they do that, you're going to be wiped out too. That's how bad it is. And when I hear these people talking about the environment and over a 300-year period, the oceans will rise by 1/100th of an inch. And this is such a threat. It's not a threat. The threat is not global warming. It's nuclear warming. It's the single biggest threat to your country, to our country, to every country.
I make up words.
Jesus Christ. It's called nuclear winter. You idiot. There is no such thing as nuclear warming.
See, it's moments like that I swear he isn't smart and
so
he is as dumb as he thinks he is. Like, he just is so dumb.
Okay, yes, let me repeat that so everybody zoom in so everybody can see me. There is no threat from nuclear warming because it's not a thing. It doesn't exist. Like Antifa, it doesn't exist. It's so stupid. Oh, okay, next. All right, moving on because I'm getting pissed. I can't stand this. I can't stand how dumb he is.
Is there a good topic? Do we have anything?
Bravo.
Can we do a show on dogs one day?
Oh, you know what? I forgot about the Trump cult rally. Oh, dude. This is the beginning. This is the introduction. These are the people that introduced them. Let me just play this video and we'll move on to MAGA Mike.
If you have drugs, do them right now.
Weird.
Is very powerful in Biden. Crooked is he.
Yes, he's speaking like Yoda.
Your country, he does not care.
Stupid.
The force is strong in Trump.
Things were peaceful. Things also had common sense. Do you remember that? Little things like we say Merry Christmas, not Happy Holidays.
It's not a Christian country.
Because
so
what does it mean when you kneel for the anthem? Kneeling for the anthem does not make you brave. It makes you a disrespectful little shit. And finally, the ultimate return to common sense. It's ridiculous I even have to say this, but I will. There are two genders. There's male and female. You get two choices. It's sir or man, period.
Lord, do you get choices?
Finally,
they're all clapping.
I pray your protection and encouragement on the president.
If I could choose,
if I could choose, if I could choose, then that's all people are asking for, really.
And the discernment of David as they face the giants who are really in opposition to you, Almighty God.
Yep, they're praying for the guy that
we pray.
Never read the Bible.
All God's people said.
Cult shit.
Yeah.
All right. Cult shit. Can we please?
It's disturbing. It's truly all right. So we did avoid a government shutdown, thank God. Again, barely. Mike Johnson. They were really mad at Mike Johnson, but it seems that Mike Johnson and Donald Trump are now buddy.
I wonder why.
I don't like this guy because he's quiet and he's well-mannered in public. He's not one of those guys that freaks out and then runs out to the camera. You know what I mean? He's not your typical MAGA. Right. He's not your typical MAGA nut like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Matt Gaetz or one of those guys.
He's the real one of the next group to seize what Donald Trump was able to achieve and actually use it for the goals that they want them for, because he knows how far he can go, how apathetic everyone in this country is, and he's going to do it with a smile, with a well-done suit and manners. And everyone's going to go, oh, wow, okay, this is all right. He's not that bad. Well, he is.
Put aside that he makes high six figures and has apparently less than $5,000 in the bank account.
Where's that money going?
$5,000.
Who's he funding with that? Where's that going?
Right. Let's disregard the fact that him and his son share each other's porn activity
and comment on it.
And yeah, so
when he was a minor.
Let's look. If you really want to see how Mike Johnson feels, look outside of the office and the flags he hangs. So yeah, the key to Mike Johnson's Christian extremism, it hangs right outside his office. The newly elected House Speaker has ties to the far right, new apostle. I'm going to say that wrong. Whatever. Reformation. Thank you. Reformation, which is hell. Which is hell on turning America into a religious state. And this was from November 10th. And he's second in the line to the president. Flag on the right. The flag on the right with the tree in it. It says,
It's another group that is telling you blatantly, without any guise. They're not hiding it. They're telling you to your face, to all of us. They don't want to make America a Christian nation. They believe it is a Christian nation under attack by the forces of the devil, and they need to have the man that is anointed by God to reestablish Christian order in this country. That is what they believe, and that is the man that is the Speaker of the House right now. And he has more to say on that subject, I believe.
Yes, he does. It's unfair to regular everyday Christians who use the Bible for inspiration and stuff like that. These people are out of their minds. If
you're religious and it does nothing but help you and does not hinder anyone else, go right ahead.
Right. Jamie Raskin gave an epic response to it in an interview. He says, we take an oath on the Bible to protect the Constitution. We don't take an oath on the Constitution to protect the Bible. That's good. That's not, I don't know if that's
FYI, that is a Jewish man who said that. So that's important to say. So come on. Anyway.
Right. So let me play the video. This is, to me, just utterly disturbing that this person is second line.
This is chilling. Listen to it. We won't talk, I promise.
Can you say any more about the issue of this could be a time of judgment for America?
Well, I mean, I don't. I'd say I'd preach to the choir on this Zoom call, or maybe the honored choir. You all know the terrible state that we're in. The faith in our institutions is as low as it's ever been in the history of our nation. The culture is so dark and depraved that it almost seems irredeemable at this point. The church attendance in America dropped below 50% for the first time in our history since they began to measure the data 60 years ago, and the number of people who do not believe in absolute truth is now above the majority for the first time. So 1 in 3 teen girls contemplated suicide last year. 1 in 4 high school students identifies as something other than straight. We're losing the country.
Yeah, that is so disturbing.
We're losing. What did I say right before the video? They believe they are under attack. That man is the Speaker of the House, and he just told you that he believes that the country, he is in line very high up to take over in the event of any tragedy. He believes it is in such decline that it is almost irredeemable in the eyes of his religion. And that the only way to solve the problem is if we increase religiosity, because he pointed out how church attendance is going down. More people than ever in history in the United States and around the world in developed countries identify as something less than religious. And he's telling you that the only way to fix it is to increase religiosity and to make sure that everyone believes in the, what did he say? Absolute truth.
Absolute truth. That's what disturbs me.
Well, guess what? There are more than one absolute truth. Actually, there are no absolute truths. There's just reality, and we're always striving to learn it. And anyone that tells you they behold the absolute truth is a con man. That's all they are.
That's what scares me, though, is he thinks a book full of fantastical stories is the absolute truth, but he won't admit that the 2020 election was the most secure election in American history. Okay, yeah, whatever. This guy. Wow. Okay, moving on, because it just gets worse and worse. Like every week is something new with these people. All right. Elon Musk back in the news for a couple of reasons. One, Neuralink, which actually was a few months ago. The FDA approved the Neuralink brain chip, which, before I play the video, let me just pull this up. Now, over a period of 4 years, now Elon Musk did get a lot of heat for this because of the cruelty of the animals. So I mean, it was 1,500 animals killed in a 4-year period. It's like one a day. And the primates had symptoms like massive depression. They had hemorrhaging of the brain. Of some of them clawed their own faces off. And Elon Musk, do you really trust this guy to not turn his shit off? Like, what if
turn off the Skylink over Ukraine when he feels like it?
Right. And these people are the same people, the right-wing people that are worried about the government watching their computers, and they're okay with putting chips in their brains.
I'm not against the advancement of even this type of technology. What I'm against is it being completely unregulated and in the hands of a bigoted, overprivileged billionaire man baby that has no scruples and will literally do anything to get people to cheer for him.
Right, and this isn't his
That's
idea.
what I'm worried
He
about.
just bought it.
Yeah.
Like every one idea he has. Obviously, the only idea he had was to buy Twitter, and you see how that worked out.
The only idea he had was to take his family's emerald blood money gotten during apartheid South Africa and buy up companies and be the front man and make everyone think he invented electric cars. He didn't.
Okay. Right, he's fabricated stories about how he came from nothing. Whatever, man. Come on. It's just stupid. Let me play the clip from I think it's TYT, or is it Damage?
Food and Drug Administration gave Neuralink. They gave Neuralink approval to launch human trials of its device, which Musk has described as a Fitbit in your skull.
That doesn't sound good.
The FDA
Does it count your
had
steps?
previously rejected Neuralink's bid for human testing in March, is what Reuters reported, citing safety concerns.
Like every step, it's like 1, 2, 3. Shut up.
Wires connected to the brain, the brain chip could move around within the subject's head, or that the chip could potentially overheat.
Oh, good.
So this is what the surgery
better.
Musk's biography said that it takes a couple of hours for a surgeon to perform the craniectomy. I looked it up, and I'm telling you, I still pronounce it wrong. Craniectomy. And then about 25 minutes for the robot to insert the actual device, along with its ultra-thin array of about 64 different threads. The device will replace the portion of the skull that had been removed. Vance, his the person who works with him, said that the threads are so thin, they're about 1/14 the width of a single strand of human hair.
Nope.
All right.
Not going to happen. I'm done. Nope.
The technology that they're using, again, now, I'm not belittling the science of it. What I'm saying is the technology that they're applying has already begun to be used in areas that you see with prosthetics, robotic prosthetics. They have been able to put electrodes in with your nerves, in people's arms, in people's legs, and stimulate actual motor function. So, but they're taking that, and the next step would be to apply it clearly to brain matter and see how much you could restore function and other things. But this is not like just putting electrodes in someone's arm.
Right. See, like I like to tell, I'm all for biotech because, I mean, obviously most people don't know. My daughter was born deaf, and we got her when she was about 2 years old. She got the cochlear implant.
That's awesome.
There's part of it that's actually implanted inside the inner ear, and then there's an external device that she wears on the outside. And because of that, she's able to hear. She has for the last 20 years now.
That's like science fiction and magic 100 years ago.
Right. And so far, the outer part, because of wear and tear, that is a problem sometimes. But the inner part, knock on wood, has worked perfectly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the only thing I worry about is longevity. How long is something made by man going to last?
Also, the piece of skull is gone. So when that thing overheats and you start clawing away at it and rip it out of your skull, your brain is now exposed and you're going to die.
Well, all those threads are interwoven into your brain.
What are you going to pull that out?
Exactly. So what do you do if it overheats? Just call.
And let me tell you something. The first person that it short circuits and they lose their mind and tear their face off, we will never know about it.
No.
We will never know about it. That person will be pushed right into an incinerator and we will never know.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. All right, so obviously he's not in just hot water that's not hot water, it's just an insane idea. But he's also in hot water for this post that he recently made, where he agreed with some anti-Semitic nonsense on Twitter. And apparently the tweet, I'm not on Twitter, thank God I got banned. Apparently it's not even a big account. It's just like some rando account that he decided I'm going to go ahead and agree with this stupid shit. And it's, so he's getting backlash now, which is perfectly fine with us because I don't like Elon as a person. I think he's
free speech.
Right, exactly. Sue us.
Well, he's threatening to sue other companies for not advertising on Twitter. Like, he's basically saying, how dare you not use my company? ESPN, I just read something before we started recording. They haven't posted, ESPN hasn't posted on their Twitter account for like a week or something like that. And like, they're
Apple
getting pissed.
pulled her, Disney. I can't. There's a bunch of others. They're like, this is just too much.
Yet again, proves they don't understand free speech. Free speech is about a consequence or lack thereof, not what you say.
Right. There is consequence. You can say whatever you want, but there are consequences.
Yes.
Right. And you're a social media platform. You're not the United States of America.
He doesn't understand.
It's not the same thing. There's free speech in the United States, but
not a
social
private
media
company.
Needs to be regulated properly. Obviously, it's a dangerous tool in the hands of a tool like Elon Musk
or a Donald Trump. I mean?
Right. So let's play this video about the backlash because it's just epic because now it's affecting other
businesses. Elon Musk is under fire for spreading anti-Semitic and racist hate to his 160 million followers on X, formerly known as Twitter. Disney is just becoming the latest advertiser to flee the social media platform out of fear that their ads will appear next to hate speech. CBS's Nancy Cordes is at the White House where the Biden administration today condemned the promotion of what it called hideous anti-Semitic lies.
The latest firestorm sparked by Elon Musk on his social media site X is now threatening.
At least he's showing his true colors now on Twitter, so we at least know who he is.
That's what scares me is all of these individual fascist creeps are showing their true colors, and no one's calling them out.
But you can't fight your enemy unless you know who it is. You know what I mean? But now Tesla's suffering. Tesla has problems of its own because apparently the computers that tell you how long you have until you have to recharge have been lying to the customers. And what else? Oh yeah, the Cybertruck. Before I forget, he was going to So he threatened to sue anyone for $50,000. Again, suing like a baby. Anyone that flipped their truck, not flipped it physically, but bought it and then sold it for a profit within the first 12 months. Of course, as soon as orders started to pull, they changed their position on that. Because, of course, people are going to buy the weirdest looking truck ever made. Right. And they're going to sell it. That's the whole point. That's a collector's item.
Did you ever try and buy a concert ticket in the past 10 years? Because that's
exactly
the same thing, Like it's funny because he's where he is in this world because people like him have successfully over monetized or hyper monetized every aspect of our lives. Everything is quick turnaround, make a buck, right? That's all insurance companies are, is making money off other people's debts and other people's profits. So you look at like an Elon Musk and he's telling the individual, the little guy, if you will, you can't make a profit on something. Only I can make a profit on something. But all you did is buy other companies and then make a profit off other people's ideas. Just like Jeremy, you said earlier, he didn't invent these things. He's just buying the company and then being the spokesman for it. So you're just punishing people for doing that.
About the whole Emerald Mine thing, because he denies it to this day, but he actually
his dad does
one. No, his dad came out and said, "Yeah, of course we did." But Elon Musk was the first person to start that rumor. He was doing an interview and it blurted out of his mouth. And then after that, you've never heard from it ever again. And he's tried like hell to make that video, not be well known. But no, Elon Musk was the first person to let the cat out of the bag. And then they verified it with the father. Yes, they were rich, white people in South Africa during apartheid. It should not be hard to paint a picture of who Elon Musk really is.
I wonder who worked in his wonderful, very OSHA compliant mine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but and I'm sure they purchased the mine legally from the native indigenous.
Yes.
people.
Oh, yes. I'm sure.
They didn't colonize it and pillage it
No.
So I mean, you got to look at who he is, where he's from. I mean, maybe he's done some great things. Yes, he's bought some great ideas.
What has he done?
Right. And the only thing he does is he sets ridiculous deadlines that end up causing mistakes. Like the Starship that just exploded. Now he's spent over $10 billion in government subsidies on 2 rockets, both of which have exploded. This one got a little bit further, got into outer space or got into space before it exploded, but they lost communication with it and it blew up. You going to put people on that? You want to spend another $3 billion to make another one? to what? Get a little bit further?
Like,
here's
the problem. This is where the whole thing hinges. Capitalism can't drive us to the future because capitalism is based on making a profit. And the only way you make a profit is by cutting costs and increasing revenue. And you can't do that if your only goal is safety and success. If your goal is safety and success, you're going to make the smallest profit that you can make if you make a profit, because you're going to put everything into the success and the safety of that mission.
Why do you think Elon Musk hates unions? He doesn't want anybody organizing them. I mean, he's pretty much like the Donald Trump of these companies.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to do what he says. And even if you mean tweet about him, he gets butthurt and kicks you out. You know, he fires you via email.
Why? Because he's a
meme. Yeah, he's an asshole. He's a bro flake. That's right. All right. So next, and not the last video I got to save is a surprise. It's a horrible surprise, but it is a surprise.
It's the theme of the evening.
Biden's aides have come up with a genius plan on how
Obama's
to combat
aides.
Trump. Did I say Obama's aides or did I say Biden's?
Biden.
Obama's aides, whatever. If I said Biden, I meant Obama. Obama's aides have a perfect plan on how to combat Trump. And I'm glad to say that we are currently doing it on this show.
And we need
I'm
more
very
people
proud of this
doing
fact.
That reminding everyone what a clown Donald Trump is actually effective. I think that authoritarian leaders, fascists throughout history, they do not like to be made fun of. They do not like to be mocked. Donald Trump does not like to be mocked. And I think we need to get back to, like, he is an extremely scary demagogue, right?
Donald Trump is the most fragile man I've ever seen in my
alpha
entire
male.
life. He cannot handle any
take him
any
seriously
kind of...
and literally. We've all seen it in action for 4 years. Guy tried
Did you
to
just do seriously and literally?
Seriously and literally, yeah. We all talked about that. He's, he tried to overturn the election, incited an insurrection, all of that for sure. Second term would be fucking terrifying. But he's a clown, and I think for a lot of Americans, they don't want to be embarrassed by their president. They don't want to elect a clown as a president. They don't want to have someone who says crazy shit all the time. Even among Republican voters, the only sort of crack in the armor there is when they say, "Oh, well, I don't like his tweets, and I don't like his behavior. I wish he would," And so that is Donald Trump's weakness, and I think getting that out there more, reminding people of that more, is going to be important.
And that's exactly right, because the guy is a clown. I mean, he can't speak. He doesn't. I don't think he can hardly read either. But he can't form an intelligent sentence. The Univision interview, I mean, 2 people left the company, or multiple people left the company because of how disastrous that interview was. Telling Mexico basically that if I don't get elected president, you're going to get nuked. That's what he said to the Mexican people. The same people he wants to deport back to Mexico and put them in cages and stuff before they go. And let's remind everybody, and I'm going to find this video and play it on our show eventually. Donald Trump just went to a presidential rally and talked about how he doesn't like golden showers from hookers
because he's a
germaphobe. Not because it's not okay to get pissed on.
Well, wait. Hey, look. No, if you're getting pissed on and it's between 2 consenting adults,
whatever, bro.
Do what you got to do.
But to tell a crowd of people in a high school gymnasium, he doesn't like to get pissed on. Let's remind the viewers out there that Donald Trump has knowingly had sex with porn stars. I'm pretty sure this guy's been pissed on or has pissed on somebody at Jeffrey Epstein's island. I know somebody at some.
I have always been under the impression that Trump and Giuliani have either independent pissing videos or mutual pissing videos, and
like R. Kelly.
Vladimir Putin has the tapes. They are on VHS.
I wish they would release the tapes, man, please.
I don't want these January 6 tapes that do nothing but show the things that we said, but they'll take it out of context. I want to see the P tapes.
So in the last week, Donald Trump has quoted Hitler on Veterans Day.
Called people vermin.
He called people vermin, talking about mass deportations, quoting Hitler again. telling Mexico they're going to get nuked. And then he's also talked about he doesn't like to get pissed on by hookers, as he put it.
Does that mean he likes to get pissed on by people who want to piss on him, not for money?
Again,
is it the intent of the piss?
It was like the Esquire. Here, I'll pull it back up, and I'm going to read the highlighted part from this damn paragraph again. This should clarify for any thinking human being that electing Donald Trump is a stupid idea. So obviously, if you still support somebody that has quoted Hitler, talking about deporting human beings and putting them in cages, talking about getting pissed on, we can't help you anymore. You are beyond help. You are beyond reason.
Look, let's be fair. They've been beyond help for a while. We are pleading with the people who are the thinking individuals because this is the thing. Apathy doesn't hit the ignorant. Ignorant people get angry, and angry people are fucking motivated to do the worst things.
Absolutely.
The more intelligent you are, and this is like kind of been backed up by a bunch of different studies and different things, the more either educated or just, I don't necessarily believe you have to be educated to be intelligent. That's not a correlation. But the more intelligent you are, the more likely you're able to just kind of hope that things work out because you trust that more people than actually are might be as intelligent as you.
Right.
Fact is, there are more people than you think that are intelligent, but we all think that we've screwed up too much and we're beyond the point of help. Vote. Pay attention. Spread the word.
Our last video, which I saved especially for this show. I think because people out there have short memories now, and people don't look into history. You know what I mean? And people think Trump's not like Hitler. You know what I mean? He can't. That would never happen in America.
There's no Nazis in America,
right? In the 1930s. I'm gonna play a video from you, and I thank the Lincoln Project again for putting this together. There was a huge pro-Nazi movement in America in the 1930s before the war. Thousands, tens of thousands of people. Now, tell me this video to me, it looks like a Trump rally. Okay? Tell me this video. I'm going to play it and tell me this doesn't look like a Trump rally and the guy speaking at the podium isn't Donald Trump.
I promise I won't say anything.
And I apologize. This is not a pleasant video to watch, and this is only for historical purposes to teach everybody what could happen if you don't pay attention. Madison Square Garden, New York City, 1939. These are American citizens, not Germans. Thousands of American fucking citizens.
That's the American flag up there. That's George Washington. Fuck.
It's horrifying, isn't it?
George Washington next to swastikas.
Okay, so for people that don't think this could happen, it almost did happen once before.
And it is happening now.
This may as well be Donald Trump.
That is a Nazi.
Yes, that is an actual Nazi.
As a complete stranger. You all have heard of me through the Jewish-controlled press.
Jewish-controlled press.
Tell me that doesn't sound familiar.
A cloven hoof and a long tail.
Look, he's literally doing the same thing Donald Trump does, making fucking awful remarks about other human beings. And then the audience laughs. Tell me that is not a goddamn Trump rally.
And who was Time Man of the Year at one point?
Yeah. Exactly.
Adolf Hitler.
And Adolf Hitler won the popular vote at 43%. Not even the majority of the country. But because the rest of the country was bickering, we've said this before, he was elected chancellor, and then we all saw what happened after that. 6 million Jews died in 4 years. And like this guy keeps saying, he says the same thing as Trump, Jewish-controlled press.
The Soros-controlled press? That's just the modern way of saying it because Soros is a buzzword. So he's saying the same thing.
I'm going to move it along a little bit. There's a point in this video where a guy runs up to try and rip down a Nazi flag, and they just attack him and beat the living shit out of him. So I want you to remember, this is what happens if you speak out against Donald Trump. We told you we were going to go hard. And again, I apologize.
Those are Americans dressed as Nazis.
Exactly. This is not Germany. This is Madison Square Garden in New York in 1939.
Those are NYPD members. Those are politicians. Those are school children. Those are the school children that are now in Congress.
Exactly.
Well, maybe. There's probably still...
So they took that guy out after beating the crap out of him because he ran in, an American ran in and took down a Nazi flag. And these Nazis, I mean, this is terrifying to me. This video gave me chills the first time I saw it, like a year ago or like 6 months ago or whatever it was. Because I didn't even know this, how big. I knew there was a pro-Nazi movement in America. There always has been. There always has been, because there's always been racist knuckleheads. But I did not know it was to that extent. I didn't know they were filling stadiums full of American citizens worshiping Nazism and Adolf Hitler.
That we fail to teach every generation as a country, all right? Mm-hmm. It becomes the individual, it becomes families, it becomes small movements like the progressive movement to continue to educate. But it's not being enforced as a country that we let people know not only how close we have come so many times to being fascist, but how much we've allowed fascism to occur elsewhere just so we could wait and see how it's going to go. Now, I'm not saying that America did not help to end World War II and stop Nazis and stop Hitler. Okay, we did. But we didn't exactly go in there to stop them while they were killing everyone. We didn't enter the war.
We didn't even know about it.
And attacked us. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't even know about the concentration camps and all that stuff. It wasn't like it was advertised.
Our people.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. The soldiers had no clue.
It's important to remember that we aren't a perfect country. Our history is the most unperfect you could ever imagine. But if you just do nothing, if you choose not to vote because what's going on in another part of the world, if you allow Donald Trump, if you allow Mike Johnson, if you allow these people to control our country, we will be headed towards a very, very, very dark future if we even have a future.
I would
look at that video. That's like literally what Trump rallies are, except Trump rallies are worse.
Same things. He's even saying the same words almost. I mean, it's just staggering. And I mean, because I have a history with World War II. My mother's a product of World War II. She actually was orphaned in Germany. She's from Germany. She was orphaned, born in 1943, as a result of the Nazis. I don't know anything about her parents, her real parents. I don't even know if she does. That could happen again. You know what I mean? On American soil, though, because it's not going to be one country and another. It's not going to be another country invading us. It's going to be your next door neighbor. It's going to be your teachers. It's going to be your cops. It's going to be your firefighters. Everybody's going to be going against one another. And if they're going to be calling, you know what I mean? They're going to be calling the cops on their neighbors saying they have this book, or they said they don't agree with Trump on this.
They're hiding these people.
Right. Oh my God, you had to go there. Yes, exactly. They're hiding these people. I mean, listen, Ron DeSantis has already made it legal for people to call and have transgender kids taken out of their homes.
Kidnapped from their home and taken away.
Right. For re-education, it's the same thing the Nazis
I guarantee you those kids are going to end up in a very particular religious home for fixing, if you will.
And again, Mike Johnson is a big believer in conversion camps and conversion therapy, that you can pray the gay away.
Everything you need to know to bring that history to now, okay? Because we could watch those videos, and if you are a human being, a decent person, they will chill you to your core, okay? But sometimes that's not enough. So what I suggest you do is tomorrow, any person that you know that is Japanese, from Japanese descent, and over the age of 70, ask them about when they were American citizens being put into camps in our country because of the fear and paranoia of what another country did to us. We're talking about not just Japanese immigrants. We're talking about people that were born here, that were Japanese Americans, and they were put in camps with their families. It will happen again.
Yeah, Mike Davis is talking about just the most horrible stuff. They're talking about not only deporting the natural-born United States citizen that was born in this country, they're going to deport their parents, they're going to deport their grandparents, and anybody like their whole lineage.
And what criteria are they going to use? The color of your skin, religion, sexual orientation, your political views, your mental health state.
Right. Do you think they're going to ask you on the street if you have your papers? No, they're going to arrest you. They're going to put you in a camp without trial because that's what the Nazis did. There will be no fair trials.
You want to be more efficient? You don't need paperwork and a bureaucracy if you just round everyone up and kill them.
No, they will speed up the justice system, that I can guarantee.
Oh yeah.
But it will not be in a good way because it'll be mass executions or mass deportations or people starving in camps.
Again,
or
my God,
homeless people in camps that will
20 years ago, I would have said if I was speaking like this, I would be exaggerating for dramatic effect.
I'm right.
But if I said this stuff 10, 20 years ago, I would have been. It would have been fear mongering and it would have been based on a fear of something happening, but they're telling us what they're doing.
Yes.
All right. That video of the 30s is powerful. Forget it. Watch the video of a Donald Trump rally today. Watch the video of a Mike Johnson from a year ago, 6 months before he was elected as Speaker of the House.
Mm-hmm.
Watch modern videos of modern madmen talking about the hell they want to bring down upon us. Because they're telling you every day. They're telling you.
Exactly. And I think to start we need to listen. It's not a joke anymore. I think the reason Donald Trump got elected because most people thought it was a joke and there was no chance.
100%.
Well, guess what? We're still dealing with that nightmare from not getting Hillary in
and
office.
Still no Republican president in the past 30 to 40 years has actually won a majority popular vote.
Donald Trump hasn't won a popular vote at all.
Keep that in mind.
So, all right, but that's it for today's show. You got any closing comments, Mike, or you left it all on the table on that one?
Can we honestly do a show about puppies? Could we just do something?
Just something pleasant.
Show alpacas. Can we just can we do just reaction videos to animals?
ASMR videos or
whatever. I need a palate cleanser, man. The only thing I could say is I'm very looking forward to a very particular interview next week. Very special guest. Do you want to say something?
Thank you. I was going to close it out. We have another fascist hate group that we can't stand is Moms for Liberty, aka the minivan Taliban. I love that one so much.
Planned Parenthood.
Some of the other ones. Planned Parenthood. If you want to leave your comments on what your favorite Moms for Liberty nickname is, that's fine. We will be having. There is a lesser known organization that is gaining some traction called Stop Moms for Liberty, appropriately named. We will be having Liz on the show, the founder of the organization, Tuesday, the day after tomorrow. What are we doing? 8 p.m.? Yes, 8 p.m.
Yes.
It will be live, and I'm hoping for comments, questions.
Please, she is freaking smart, and she does not care. She will answer any question. She will tell you honestly, and her passion for this fight is admirable. So, yeah, if you want to ask her anything, we'll do it. We'll have a good time. She's so much fun.
Right. And unlike Moms for Liberty, who like to fundraise and live lavish lifestyles, Stop Moms for Liberty is a grassroots organization that does it because it's fucking necessary.
The right thing to do.
And it's the thing I hate about Moms for Liberty, and then I'll close out the show, is the fact that they target children. They target your schools. They are the groomers. They talk about, they hate groomers. Well, they have well-funded groups like Moms for Liberty, quite honestly, going right after your children. It's right in front of you. Luckily, they lost in this past election, but we'll get into that. Liz has all of the receipts. So if you want to know anything about what's going on with Moms for Liberty and what's going on with Stop Moms for Liberty, please tune in Tuesday, 8 p.m. again live. Eastern.
I encourage dissenters to watch. And if you want to ask a question to Liz, get ready because she has the answer for you.
Yeah, you might not like it, though. All right. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's all I got. So, once again, we will see you next week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Have a good evening.